Thank you, Sanjay, for giving an opportunity to introduce Sangeeta. Sangeeta is a chief financial officer turned business and leadership coach, contributing by maximizing potential performance and profits. She is also an independent director on corporate boards. Sangeeta is on mission to enable, empower, and elevate businesses with a purpose to serve corporate leaders and teams to shine and succeed. She brings along rich corporate experience of 25 years with multinationals, and her latest position was as the Executive Director and Chief Financial Officer of Dun and Bradstreet Technologies. Sangeeta is a chartered accountant, management accountant, and completed executive education from Harvard Business School. She's a credentialated coach from the International Coaching Federation, uh, TEDx and global professional speaker and best-selling author. Accolades received Nightingale Award by the Society of Auditors, leading woman chief financial officer, innovator in finance, awarded 100 inspiring authors of India, outstanding professional award by FICCI. That's and Sangeeta is a professional speaker at many national and international events, uh, forums, and corporates on finance, high performance strategy, and leadership. She believes in value creation for her clients. She's married to Sumesh, mother of two, and balances her personal, professional, social, and spiritual life as an art of living practitioner as well. So we are happy to have you, Sangeeta, over here for starting the day's session. And that's all yours.
Excuse me. Stand and speak becomes better.
Yeah.
So very good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so I'm here to talk to you about Get High. So you must be wondering, what is Get High, right? Get High. Before I even explain and tell you what it is about, I'd like you to take a moment's pause and just think. How would you feel if you achieve something that you thought you could not achieve? How would you feel if you accomplish a task with great efficiency, finesse, and speed? How would you feel if you keep getting consistently better at what you do? How would you feel? Please post it in the chat box, and I'd like to hear from all of you as well. How does that make you feel?
Definitely happy.
Happy, yes.
Satisfactory.
Satisfactory.
Feel high.
Feel high, exactly, yes. So you feel really good about yourself. You feel high, you feel proud of your own self, whatever you've achieved, right? That is exactly what Get High is all about. When we say get high, many people, think confident. Yes, I do see some nonsense there.
Confident
Absolutely.
of doing things better.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So that is what Get High is all about, to see how you can be in the path of high performance in whatever that you're doing. High performance, what is high performance all about? Performing at a high standard, right? To achieve the results that you want to get, right? So basically, it's to become a better version of yourself. You are here today. How can I get better? How can I get to the next level tomorrow? Right? That's all what high performance is all about. That is what is Get High. So today I'm going to be speaking about getting high. I say you don't need anything external to get high. It's all within us. We all have these capabilities, and we can see how we can actually get high and feel good about our own selves. So that being the context, and of course, since we are here to celebrate International Women's Day, let me merge the two and see what I have to offer for you. So before I even step into the next things, I'd like to wish everybody, especially all the women, of course, here and the ones who've joined virtually, a very happy International Women's Day.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let me start off with a little story. The story is about a little girl. During her growing up years, her parents told her, you can go and achieve what you want to achieve. You can go and conquer the world. Gender was never a limiting factor. So this was the belief system she grew up with. She always told herself, is this something I'm interested in? Is this something that I am capable of achieving? And that's how she had programmed herself. Now, fast forward a few years, she was in the corporate world and started growing her career. And that's when she got to know that, there needs to be women in leadership, women on corporate boards, empower women and all these different aspects. So that was a slight shift compared to her growing up years. And when she started hearing this, she felt offended. Why should there be benefits just because you're a woman? Right? This was the thought that was going in her mind. I'm talking about nobody else but yours.
Yes.
Right? So this was my thought process. Until few of my mentors educated me on this. They said, it's not that, because you're a woman, you're entitled to all of this. No, it definitely has to do with merit and your capabilities. But why do we need to have women? Right? So that is a question I'm sure most of the women will be having out here. It's simply because women are wired differently compared to the men. So therefore, having women in leadership roles, it brings in different perspectives. It brings in different thought processes. And that's what makes diversity important. And diversity is not just restricted to gender diversity. Diversity, we also need cultural diversity, geographical diversity, thought diversity. We need all of these aspects if a business has to be successful. And that's what makes diversity something very, very important. And then this was what was told to me. And then I started observing and realizing few things. Now, if you were to look at the organization pyramid, at the base of the pyramid, you have a large number of women, right? And as the pyramid goes up, the number of women are much lesser, especially in the leadership roles. So there definitely exists a gender gap even at the leadership levels. So what can we do to bridge these gaps? And that's when, we can bring in different perspectives, different thought processes, and see how the business can actually grow. Any business, any industry, any vertical, this becomes something that's important. So given this context and background, what actions can each of us take, right? Now, if you were to notice the theme for this year's International Women's Day, it says digitally. So it's digital plus ally. Now, what is ally? Who is an ally? Who do you think is an ally? Somebody from the chat box as well, and of course, the lovely women here. Ally, right? Anybody, what do you think is ally all about?
Friend-like thing.
Friend, yes. Anybody else in the chat? I'd like to see some comments in the chat.
An aid.
Partner.
It's an aid, a partner. Okay, lovely. Yes, so allyship. What is allyship about? An ally is somebody who is there, who's helping you and supporting you in what you want to do. Even if the entire world is against you, this person is, championing you and your cause. That is an ally. Right? So how does one become an ally? Simple. An ally is somebody who points out your strength. Because many times we are not even aware of what we are capable of, right? So an ally is somebody who is pointing out your strength. An ally is somebody who's giving you kudos when you deserve it. Hey, you've done a wonderful job, right? So somebody who's actually appreciating you. And somebody who's encouraging you and your dreams. And, helping you to grow further in whatever that you want to do. So this is what allyship is all about. And therefore, to bridge this gap, we need a lot of allies. And this allyship although this is in the context of International Women's Day, who is your first ally?
Me.
Exactly. You are your own ally as a first step. And then, of course, you can be allies to each other. That's when the concept of sisterhood comes in, because no other woman can understand you better than another woman, right? And then definitely you have your male colleagues, your family, extended family at home, your friends, who can also be your allies. And you can also be allies to your male friends, your male colleagues, to your husband, brother, whoever else, right? So allyship is gender neutral. So having said that, since we said the first level of being an ally is we ourselves, let me tell you another small incident. This incident happened about 10, 12 years ago. At that time, my daughter, she was about 4 or 5 years old. It was a weekday, a working day. I had come back from office, very tired. A friend of my husband had suddenly come home for dinner. They were meeting after a long time and they were chit-chatting for a long time. The dinner was ready, it was kept on the table, but they just continued talking. My daughter, who was little, wanted me to put her to sleep. And so she was telling me, Amma, please come and make me sleep. Now, I was so tired. And I was telling her, I said, no, the moment I hit the bed, I know I'm going to fall asleep. And, I will not be there to serve the dinner and put the things back in the fridge. My daughter that time innocently asks me this question. She said, Amma, can't up do this? And that was an aha moment for me. This thought hadn't even occurred to me. So I just went and asked my husband. I said, is it okay that you both eat and then can you put the food back in? He said, yes, no problem. So he didn't have a problem. So where was the problem? It was with me. Because then I realized most women, we think the entire world rests on our shoulders. Nothing happens without us. Everything we are responsible, we take the blame, we take the guilt many times, which is probably not even required. And that is why I say, first, be an ally to yourself, right? So consciously be aware, have the clarity that you want to achieve, right? And then you can work towards it. Then I told you about the concept of sisterhood, right? So sisterhood is something very nice because you are there for each other and helping each other as an ally. Having said that, we are also used to a particular way of upbringing and thinking and thought process. We miss out some things, and that, I say, is your unconscious bias. So I'll give you another small incident that happened. It was an important meeting that was going on, and there were about 10 of us in the room like this. So an external vendor had been brought in, and she had to be introduced to me and another person, a gentleman, who had salt and pepper hair. This lady walks into the boardroom. She was sitting next to me, and this gentleman was sitting opposite to her. So the moment she walked in, they introduced her to us. The rest of them knew. It was only me and this gentleman who didn't know her. And then one of them in the room just casually mentioned, they told her, get to know these two people well, because they could help you in growing your business further. They are well networked and therefore they can help you. So this girl was all excited. So her eyes popped out and she started passionately talking about her work, her business. And guess what? She looks only at the guy. She does not even look at me, although I'm sitting right next to her. So, she's just looking at him and she's explaining everything. That's when initially I said, what's causing this? And then I realized probably if I were in her place, I might have done the same thing. Because we are just so tuned and accustomed to thinking and bringing up this way. And therefore, we only think it is the male, the men who are capable of doing a lot of things, who are decision makers, who can get new business. We just tend to discount blindly the women. So there is a lot of this unconscious bias. We are built with like that. And therefore, it's time that we need to break this bias by doing what we can do, educating ourselves, educating the people around us, and most importantly, educating our children. Because at least let the next generation not see this difference. And therefore, that becomes something that's very important. Right? So we need to train and tune ourselves accordingly. So we've been speaking about this allyship. And we also said how, especially in a work context, how can the men be allies to women? And this is especially for all the men. I'm an acronym person. I love sharing acronyms because it's easy to remember and the recall value is very high. I'm sure the men would like to please the women. So please is the acronym that you have to remember. So how can you be an ally? Not just your women colleagues, but even at home, you can follow this concept of please. So P stands for partnering. You partner with the woman in whatever she has to do. At work, see how you can partner with her, and the home front, see how you can partner with her and how you can contribute to the woman. L is to listen. You know, women like to talk a lot, right? And we love people when they listen to us. So as men, and normally men like to speak lesser compared to the women. So can you be good listeners, right? So L is to listen. E is to encourage. How can you encourage the woman? How can you appreciate and, ensure that she can actually live her dreams? Being a true ally, telling her soft spot, telling her strengths, right? Nurturing her growth, and how can you contribute to that? So that is the E. A is to appreciate. I mean, who doesn't like to be appreciated on a job that's well done, right? Many times we think, but we may not even voice it out. Are we expressing ourselves out there? So go ahead and appreciate, especially when it is truly deserving. S is to support. How can you support the women around you? How can you help them even break the bias? How can you support them in embracing equity, which is a theme for this year, embrace equity, right? So how can you show your support, not just the verbal support, but in actions as well? And the last E is to empower. How can you empower the women around you? It could be your daughter, it could be your colleague at work. How are you empowering people around you? So if you were to look at this, please let me repeat again. Partner, listen, encourage, appreciate, support, and empower. Yes, thank you so much, Anand, for putting that in the chat box. So if you can please the women around you, I think this helps the gender gap that we spoke about to narrow down. And thereby, we can move, we can stop speaking about this gender equality and, move towards gender neutrality. Because I think end of the day, it all boils down to the merit, to the capabilities, what you can achieve as an individual, what are your interests. I think those things makes a lot of difference. Having said that, it doesn't mean you have to go and push the women to achieve what they want to do. Leave the choice to them. If they want to achieve something, give your support. Do not force them into it. I'd like to tell you another small example here. A few years ago, we had our college reunion. We met up, about 15, 20 of us met up, after college, some 10, 15 years later, and therefore we were exchanging pleasantries and checking what each one had to do. So one of them told me, she said, I'm working at this particular place. I've been working there for a long time. In fact, I'm due for my promotion and I don't want my promotion. So I was very shocked. I said, why? I mean, you're going to get promoted. Isn't that a good thing? Why are you shying away from the promotion? So she told me something very beautiful. She said, if I were to get promoted, it means more responsibilities, more job for me. And I don't want to take up anything more. I am happy where I am. I don't want to earn more. I'm not aspiring for career growth. So why should I take this promotion? It's a different thought process. It's a different perspective. At least to me, that's how I felt. And she's not wrong, because if that's what she wants, if she's just happy where she is and she doesn't want to grow further, that's fine as well. So it depends on what you want. There's nothing right or there's nothing wrong. What is it that you want to achieve? Your happiness, your wellness, that's more important. And having allies in whatever that you want to do. Now, I'd like to again take a moment and express my gratitude to people who have been great allies to me. When this theme of allyship came, I reflected on how my journey has been, and then I realized there have been so many allies in my case. My parents, firstly, during my growing up years, I did not have a television at home. I did not have a phone. There was no refrigerator, no car. I did not have any of these luxuries. And I noticed a lot of my school friends had all of this. So I asked my parents. I said, why is it we don't have a car? Why is it we don't have a phone at home? My friends are traveling abroad for holidays. When can we go? My parents, both of them were working. In fact, my grandfather was a very famous doctor here in Chennai. They were from an extremely well-to-do family. He passed away unexpectedly. My grandmother was not financially literate. She didn't know how to manage, and they had about 6 children. She had a lot to go through. And my father, being the eldest, all the responsibilities, marrying his sisters, everything came upon him. So they went through a very difficult time. And therefore, the financial mindset was, we need to be extra cautious. We should not splurge in extra things. So this was their mindset. Now, as a child, I kept asking all these questions. So my parents were very clear. So they told me, if you want to achieve all of this, see how you can grow. Get yourself a good education. Get into good jobs and see how you can live the life of your dreams. So my first ally has definitely been my parents, right? Because without giving me the vision to dream and think big and fly, I would not have achieved what I wanted. Next, of course, is my husband, who has empowered me to grow in my career, right? And then if I were to look at a lot of colleagues I have had, I have been blessed with very good colleagues who at every time in my career have pushed me, have nudged me and ensured that I have grown further. In fact, after being about 25 years in the corporate, I wanted to get started on my own. I was saying, yes, one day I will leave the corporate and then, be on my own. But I did not have the courage to go ahead and take things forward. And that time again, my husband and few other friends, they were telling me, said, hey, you've been telling about this. When are you going to action this? Right? So you need somebody who is nudging you and pushing you to achieve your dreams. Let me tell you about my author journey. I never had plans to write a book. In 2015, I had been on a family vacation to Cambodia. How many of you know where Cambodia is? Do you know where Cambodia is?
It's Indonesia, Cambodia.
Yeah, it's in the Far East, yes, after Singapore in the geography. So in Cambodia, we visited the capital. It's called Phnom Penh. I don't know how many of you know about the Cambodian history. From 1970 to 74, there was a mass genocide in Cambodia. Innocent people. They were butchered mercilessly. Women and children were treated even bad. Even now, you go and walk in the killing fields. You'll find pieces of bones and nails right there in the killing fields. There's a huge tower where the skulls, the human skull and other things are displayed. They are categorized on how each one was killed, the age, gender. It's too gory. When I saw all of that, something happened to me. And I was just left with this thought. I said, if innocent people can be killed like this, so brutally, what happens? So this was an unknown thought that I had in my head, and unknowingly, I started weaving a story around it. And even after I came back from Cambodia, this story was still there in my mind. Then a little voice told me, why don't you write about this? And immediately, like most women, what did I tell myself? Oh no, I'm not an author. Who's going to read my book? Why should I read? Why should I write? Right? I had all these fears. And therefore I said, no, I'm not going to write. But again, month after month, this thought was still there. It was very strong. And luckily for me, I chanced upon a 100-day book authoring challenge. Now we know how it is. We've been in the corporate world, all these challenges, deadlines, targets always attract us. So I said, okay, probably this is an opportunity for me. Let me go ahead and complete my book. So there again, I had some allies. The person who ran the workshop, we were a small group of about 10 people who came together, each of us writing on different stuff. And that helped and encouraged me to complete my book. So even at the time of the launch, the book launch, Tai Chennai was the one who did the launch for us. And I still had a lot of butterflies in my stomach. And I was like, do I even go ahead with it or not? And with a lot of courage, I went ahead. And thankfully, to my surprise, the book did very well. And it was this book that won me one.
Sorry, I think it's got muted. So from the time when you said that this book got you something, so from there.
Yeah, so I was saying this book won me the award as one of the 100 inspiring authors of India, something that I had never expected, never anticipated, right? So when that happened, when I started telling people that I have written a book, this was a spiritual thriller. So they said, but where is the finance book? You are a CFO. You have so many years of experience in the corporate. You have to write a finance book. And even then, I was like, I said, no, there are so many finance books. Why should I write? So ALLYSHIP came in handy here as well. 2-3 of my good friends, from different circles, all of them told me. They said, no, your experience, you must bring this out. You have a knack to make things simple and easy. So can you do, because normally when you say finance, most people think, oh, finance, it's boring, it's challenging. It's not my cup of tea. So can you make finance simple and easy so that can lead to business growth? So when 2-3 different friends in the firm of Ally started telling me this, it gave me food for thought. So I said, okay, probably I can do something here. And thus came my next book, which was What the Finance. And that went on to becoming a national bestseller. Again, something that I had never thought of. Of course, again, that spree went on, and then I wrote Get High, which is what I'm talking to you about, how to coach yourself for high performance in your work. And then came Where's the Moolah? Moolah, like we know, is money, right? So that talks about financial growth hacks for business profitability. So now when I look back, supposing I hadn't taken that leap to write my first book, if I was still stuck in my fears, I probably wouldn't have been an author today. Therefore, see how you can conquer and see how you can be an ally to others. Because if not for these people who had, pushed me to write, I don't think I would have written. And therefore, again, allyship becomes something important. And similarly, for me to be an independent director, I had a lot of mentors, right? Who were like always there for me, any doubt, any questions, I always had them to fall back on, who encouraged me and who were able to tell me what is right and what is wrong. And therefore, again, allyship becomes something important. And again, for me to do what I'm doing today, working with different corporates on maximizing their potential, performance, and profitability. It was again because of my allies. They believed in me, they trusted in me. Because I used to tell them, yes, thanks Anand for flashing that. I used to tell them, I said, what is my purpose? If I can contribute to the success of one organization, can I scale myself? Can I do more? These were questions I was asking me, and I knew I was getting the answers, but I wasn't actioning. So again, when somebody is there to push you for it and bet on you and champion your cause, that's when you feel motivated. You take that leap of faith in yourself because others can see what you don't see. We all have our own blind spots, right? But if there is somebody who can be an ally to us and help you achieve what you want, that makes a lot of difference. Let me also tell you two other little stories. How many of you have heard of Biocon?
I think
Biocon, yes. It's a listed company. Yes. Anand says yes. Yeah. So Biocon was founded by Kiran Mazumdar Shah. You probably would have heard this name. It's one of the top listed companies today. Now, when Kiran started her journey, nobody believed in her. Gender was an factor. Age was a factor. She had tremendous amount of challenges. Poor infrastructure. The banks wouldn't lend her money. She did not get people to work for her. Poor quality of water. She had umpteen number of challenges. She could have also backed out, right? But Kiran didn't do that. She had an art. She had an art of getting things done despite challenges. So she went ahead, worked around each of them. And today, if you were to check, Biocon is one of the top companies here. It was one of the first Indian companies in their industry to go for an IPO many years back, right? So many challenges she had, she overcame and she is so successful today. Now you may think, oh, these are good only for people, the top leaders. Let me also tell you another story. This is about a friend of mine. She was doing her CA articleship with me. Just before our inter exam, CA, like most of you know, has inter and final. So just before the inter exams, she stopped coming to office. We thought she's probably studying very hard. And then during the exams, we noticed we never saw her. And we were wondering what is happening to her. And then the rest of us, we were in our batch, we checked on what happened to her. And then we were told she got married. We were very surprised. And then to add on to this, we were told she had actually eloped with somebody. She comes from an extremely conservative and traditional family and very orthodox family. So, and then when we heard that she eloped, and she's not the kind, you can't relate that she would actually do something. So it was a big shock to all of us. And none of us were invited as well. Her family disowned her. She got married. The husband didn't want her to work. So she was just at home. To make things worse, he ill-treated her, abused her, and she was just sitting at home. Came along 2 kids. The in-laws were also not kind to her, but she was just managing. And she was not in touch with any of us all through these years. After about maybe 20 years or something, one day she sent me a friend request on Facebook. And then she asked for my number. So I gave, and then she called me. And then she said, can you help me find a job? So I was surprised. I said, where have you been all along? What has been? First, tell me what happened to you. So it was very unfortunate that she lost her husband. The in-laws were against her and took the kids away as well. Her family had already disowned her. But thankfully, her parents accepted her. And she said, I have not worked all these years. I don't know who will give me a job, what sort of role I can do, I don't even know how to operate a computer. I've been so outdated. It's really bad that I have not upskilled myself during these years. Luckily, we had a senior of ours, also a chartered accountant, who runs his own company. And I connected the two of them, and she started working in his company. From not knowing how to operate a computer, today, she is the head of their business here. Complete transformation, right? Because she has learned, she took the help of the people around her, allies again. She said, you know, a lot of them, it is an IT company. She said, a lot of them were like the age of my kids. And I did not have an ego. I went and learned from all of them. And therefore, today, I know my skills, I know my strengths, but for all these people who had supported me, I would not have been able to grow in my career. So that is why all this becomes a lot important. So for you, in your career, in your growth, what is it that you want to achieve? Who can be your ally? Who can support you? Who can champion? Who can believe in you and help you achieve and realize your dreams? So as an organization, can you be a high-performing organization? Can you see, can I get better at what I do? We spoke about digital. Today, if you want to order food, there is a Swiggy. You want to go for a movie, there is Book My Show. Everything is dependent on technology. So how can you grow and groom yourself? And instead of saying, oh, I'm technologically challenged, how can you be part of the technology? How can you embrace technology? Few basic things let me share here. Firstly, a lot depends on our mindset. If you think it's challenging and you cannot, yes, that's how it's going to be. So firstly, change your mindset. Number two, upskill. Like in this example, I told you who she didn't know how to even operate a computer, how she quickly upskilled herself. Like that, upskill yourself with your technological skills. Have a commitment for it, because unless you're committed, you'll not be able to get better in what you do. Learn to get feedbacks, because like I said, we all have our blind spots. And unless there's somebody giving us feedback, we do not know how we are performing. Next is to learn, keep learning. Because if you don't learn, if you're not learning, you stop winning. And therefore, it's important to keep learning and growing yourself. And last but not the least is to be adaptable. I think we humans are blessed with the fact that we can be so adaptable. From the time the computers came, we were able to adapt ourselves. And even today, if you were to look our parents or even our grandparents, they have adapted themselves to use a mobile, to use a Facebook, right? They have adapted themselves so well. So it's all in the mindset, and you just need to adapt yourself and see what can be done so that you can keep getting better at what you do. You have to keep yourself along with the changing times. Keep pace with the changing times. Today is A, tomorrow will be B, tomorrow will be C. And you have to grow and adopt yourself to stay relevant to these changing times. So to conclude, I would say, if you want to ace your game, remember another acronym, ACE and ACE. What is that? A is to enhance your awareness levels, right? Be it about your own self, be it about your work, be about what you were able to contribute, be aware of things. C is to create the culture. What sort of culture? Be it at home, be it at the workplace. A culture that you have plays an important role. So what is the sort of culture that is being followed? Like I said, you as a mother are creating the culture for your children, right? So what is the culture that you're setting similarly at your workplace? So A is your awareness, C is your culture, and E is to educate. Educate the people around you. It can be your female colleague. She may be thinking, oh, all this only I have to do at home, especially, right? So educate them, educate your family, educate your colleagues, because otherwise people would not know. So that's the first A's. A's and A's. So the second A's, what is it? Sorry. Sorry. So the second A's. The A here stands for your allyship, right? We've been speaking so much on the importance of allyship. So A is the allyship. C is the collaboration. Can you collaborate and not compete with each other? Because collaboration can help you grow much beyond. Now, if you were to look few years ago, the bank ATMs, if you had the ATM of a particular bank, you could draw money only from the ATM of the same bank. But today, that's not the case. Any ATM will work in any other bank's ATM. And that exactly is a beautiful example of collaboration. They're not competing with each other. How can you collaborate? And last E is to empower. So by doing A's and A's, you can see how you can be in the path of high performance. How can you get better at what you do? How can you grow further in your career and achieve the dreams that you want to? And as a parting remark, I would say a woman is a Devi or a devil. And you bring out the best in her. So see what you can do to whether you want the Devi or the devil, right? So with that, I'd like to wish you all the very best. I'm happy to connect with all of you. I'm there on social media. You can find me as the Gain Enabler. I'm active on LinkedIn. I have my YouTube channel. I keep sharing things on leadership, finance, high performance. So feel free to subscribe, Instagram, all the social media. You'll find me as the Gain Enabler. Happy to connect with all of you. And if you have any questions or doubts or anything, I'm around. So please feel free to, you can post in the chat box or unmute yourself and ask. Happy to support you all.